Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of STAAH and Katie, I want to welcome you for this webinar. It is adapting now to prepare for tomorrow. So it's afternoon here in New Zealand and probably noon in Australia. So welcome. We'll begin sharp at 2 o'clock. So can you guys all hear me well? As in,
yes.
hear me clearly? Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. And can you see the slides as well?
Yes.
Okay,
during the presentation, can everyone mute their microphones?
Yes, so that's what they're coming
to. At the end. Okay, it's just very noisy here.
Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping. If you can mute, mainly everybody's been muted upon joining, but in case you're not, just mute yourself, and we can sort of ask questions or comments on the chat feature, and we're happy to sort of go through that at the end of the webinar. It should take around 45 minutes or so, depending on how many questions you ask. And we recommend close all other tabs on your browser because it helps just navigating this properly on your screen. If somebody's got some music playing in the background, you may just want to mute that. Thank you. Okay, so we have around 52 participants here. So a little bit about ourselves. So Katie, do you want to begin? Then we'll go with STAAH and myself.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction. Sorry, I'm just getting a lot of noise on my end. Can I just get everyone to hover down in the bottom left-hand corner and make sure that you're muted? Just so we've got no background noise for everyone. Thank you. So my name is Katie Hokin. My agency specializes in digital marketing for hotels and resorts. And I have online courses and training programs for people who DIY. So that's me, and I'm looking forward to sharing some information with you a bit later on around social media.
STAAH, something from your end?
What's your...
Is anyone talking?
You've got my brother's email as well.
Okay, hi guys, I am Cicero, I'm head of sales New Zealand for STAAH. Later on, I'll be kind of taking us through some tips on what things that you need to watch on during this quiet time and prepare yourself for when travelers start traveling New Zealand, so you can get yourself ready to capture those bookings. I've been working with hotels for the past 15 years, all the way from hotels, professional, and OTAs as well, and I've been with STAAH for nearly 2 years now.
All right, and something about me, I'm Edwin. I'm the regional manager and head of marketing at STAAH. I've been a hotelier the last 25 years, and the last 6 years been in tech, working with STAAH. STAAH as a company is working with over 10,000 properties worldwide with their headquarters in Auckland, and I'm just keen to be there amongst all you guys. We are in through some turbulent times, and I thought we'll put out this webinar to sort of give you some tips of what to expect. We sort of do not have a crystal ball per se, but at least we can give you some tips to be prepared. So thank you for making the time, and appreciate you taking the time across for the small presentation. So we'll start now. So something about STAAH, as I said, it was a sort of basement startup by a gentleman by the name of Kevin. Started in 2008, moving to around 10,000 properties now. And these are a suite of products, and I'm not here to sell any of these products today, but these are a suite of products that we have for hotel technology. I think as a past hotelier, we've been through this several times through SARS and 2001, GFC, but I think something on this scale, I think nobody was prepared for. It's something which is quite rare, where we've got the whole world in lockdown, and nobody was prepared for a pandemic on these lengths. But we can be prepared now because, once everything starts opening up, I think this is a good opportunity for us to sort of be prepared to to welcome our guest in here. And so hence I'm sort of putting across some few valuable information that I've collated with myself and the leadership team as you go along. So as hoteliers, accommodation providers, just give me a second. I just have to admit everyone. As accommodation providers, you've gone through this several times, and you're the resilient bunch. You sort of have a never-do sort of die attitude to sort of get things going when things are impossible. And you've been this time before. So it's just that, as I said, everybody's in the same boat. Most of our businesses are in the same boat, and this sort of picture resembles the same thing. Everybody's trying to just find out what's going to happen next. At the beginning, we sort of hoteliers, accommodation providers felt they sort of had an undue advantage. Some of them felt like the English team right here, where the OTAs had sort of owned the guest, or some of the people with large marketing budgets sort of had an advantage in there. But with this pandemic, things have changed quite a bit. Even the marketing spend by OTAs has been really slashed. So what does that leave you with? You then land up on the same level playing field. You've got many accommodation providers who are shut or sort of reduce their accommodation inventory in there. Most of the Airbnbs, as in some places, also have been shut. So what does that leave with people who've got the accommodation running at this moment of time? That means reduced inventory and smarter marketing to drive in business. So at present, as I mentioned, you're on a sort of same level playing field, and this will help you at this moment of time to get your things in tidy so that you will be ready when business starts picking up. Some sort of stats here, which by IMF, and as you know, everybody's affected with this pandemic. What sort of graph are you looking at? Is it a V-shaped graph, or U-shape, or an L-shape? But these are things where the IMF sort of predicts in there, and this was their prediction. And if you see predicting the 2020 to be at minus 3% GDP worldwide, and next year to bounce that back again to 5.8.
Yeah, just asking what date they can put that in.
So, as you know, if most of the places borders are sealed, domestic tourism is important. I would just recommend all you guys to put your mics on mute, please. Thank you. So domestic tourism is big, and these are just statistics in Oceania I'm sharing, where New Zealand has got domestic tourism at 24 billion out of 41, which makes up around 58%. Sorry, this got a bit diluted. And Australia has got 81 billion out of 152 billion in there. That's around 53% on the domestic tourism. And this just came out this morning with Tourism Ticker in here, one of the statistics done, saying 29% of the surveyed people want to go out in regional areas in the next 6 months. So 1 in every 4 person wants to go out and look at accommodation or stay in accommodation across the country. And this is in New Zealand. I haven't found out any stats in Australia as yet. So what does it mean for you? As a provider, I think one of the first most important thing is to building trust in there. One of the concerns for travelers you're going to have is your property safe? Is your hotel safe? What are the services offered during this time? Can they do a self-check-in, check-out? Can they have shared spaces? What are the shared spaces at your property? Can I cancel or amend any of the bookings? So these are the concerns which you'll be having from your guest. And these are some things which you'll have to build that trust back again with your guests and your customers. your marketing mix is going to be really different. And this would be basically on depending on what levels your hotel is, your accommodation provider, sorry, your accommodation is located in. So you could have your level 4 restriction moving to level 3. So you're probably going to have people who are locals or on a drive-in distance in there, given with people who are going to come in for individual travelers, followed with couples, and finally with families in there. One of the things to note is that business travel as well, you'd have people who are working on this, going with smaller companies to travel first, then larger companies, because the larger companies have really put a tight spend onto their business travel. And because of Zoom these days and Google Hangouts, that's going to be restricted, at least for the time being. Creating offers to that mix. Now, you've got to realize that marketing is a sort of a moving target. You've got to sort of keep close tabs on what's happening around and adjust your approach in there. So if something doesn't work in the first go, please have a look at how can you move that around. Don't sort of keep on just keeping static market offers in there. If things don't work correctly, if you're not getting too many bookings, make sure that you adapt to the market and offer to this market mix which is coming to your doorsteps. I think, this goes without saying, cleanliness will be one of the most important factors here. So this is one of the key drivers for getting people onto your property. So you've got to ensure that this is sort of really on high standards. And I just put out something which I'd seen this through Airbnb, where they've got the Airbnb community, which has something on the lines of cleaning guidelines. And this is something which you can take tips from to use onto your own content in there, or how you're using cleanliness and how clean you're keeping your property to welcome the future guest. This goes without saying, as you know, at this point of time, as you're building trust, you've got to have flexible terms and conditions in your bookings as well, so that they can cancel last minute if things change or level restrictions change. They're not like, oh, what do I do? This property is not going to give me back my money. So you've got to have flexible terms and conditions to make sure that they book. And given the current situations, you're not going to end up being full, or there's not going to be high demand at the beginning. So I think building trust is really important, and having flexible terms and conditions. And of course, your online reputation is always important, but I think it matters more than ever now, especially in terms of cleanliness. People are really going to see online your reviews, how you rated in there to finally choose you to stay. And if you probably have bad reviews in terms of your cleanliness or your check-in, this is the right time to sort of get things back in order. As you say, this is Seth Godin, who says, it's not about the stuff you make. Marketing is not about the stuff you make. It's about the stories you tell. And I think one of the stories which you can sort of relay that is also the content on your website as you go along. So I've sort of put down a few tips here, and I'm free if you can take a photograph of this. We're anyway going to share this video later on post the webinar, but these are good content tips that you can use.
No worries, okay. Hydrate.
If you can mute, please, thank you. So these are content tips that you can use at your property, and this is simple things to use, which is sort of drive more building trust in there. So I've just put down, and I'll just go through this one by one, and this is really important. Firstly, saying new cleaning methods implemented at a hotel or property post-COVID. using social distancing in operations. How is our property managing shared spaces? As you know, money is going to be really tight. What are the top 3 activities in the city or region?
Hey, whoever the host of the meeting is, you know that you can mute everybody. You just have to right-click on them and you can mute them, or from the list. If you're the host, you can mute everyone.
I'm glad about that.
Thank you. Just give me a second.
Are you really? Gee, what happened? Yeah, well, you know the owner of this place is Peter, so he's been down to...
1 minute, just give me a minute.
Huh? Yeah.
I think the person doesn't realize.
I've just sent you a link. If you go to that link, it will show you how to mute everyone, unless you've got it already.
Thank you. Money is going to be tight, so top 3 activities in the city or region. You can add that content in there. Our heroes, the staff has really been incredible in some of the places. They've been working during this pandemic. Start recognizing them. I think people will sort of realize that you're putting a lot of importance on your staff. If you've done any voluntary work or charity that you've assisted during this time, please mention that. If you've got cooking facilities at your property, then probably recipe cards from the manager or some meals that you can cook in 20 minutes, make it more interesting. These days, there are lots of WhatsApp forwards of recipes and people sharing, people making cookies or special dishes in there during the time at home. Top takeaways recommended by staff. And finally, I think this is one thing which accommodation providers have always spoke about, and why really booking direct really helps. And these are things which you can still keep on adding on and adding that onto your website and resources. These are few things which you normally do anyway in terms of top 10 things to do, top 10 shopping, restaurants, Instagram selfie locations, and finally celebrities who visited your city or town. And these are few of the content formats that you can add in. Now people ask, should I just have a blog? But apart from blog, you've got how-to, newsletters, giveaways, FAQs, day in the life of my porter, day in the life of my chef, day in the life of my manager, an interview, guides that you've got, quiz contests, infographic, news, a photo collage of your staff or your facilities, the videos that you've got, some timelines as to when your property would open, where is it now, what was it in the old days, press releases. User-generated content is really important as well. People are these days into a lot of groups in here through Facebook or LinkedIn. Use that to sort of broadcast your property in there. So podcasting is one of the new things used effectively. And lastly, polls, just to sort of gauge, am I doing this correctly? And opportunity to drive direct bookings. Because of the building trust, people are really coming to your website at this moment in time to really see whether does this property exist, how good it is, and if you've conveyed them and you've managed to market that directly, drive them to your website, make sure that you have those deals available. And this is a good opportunity to drive direct bookings without paying commissions. Cicero will cover some few points on this as he goes along. Use Google My Business. I think this is one of the most important tools available by Google. And you can update your check-in, check-out time, and also add in images out there where you can put in blog content. You can put in images exactly like what you had shared with you earlier. Use this because this is owned by Google. It helps you in your search at the end of the day. Many of these properties don't use this at all. So I'm surprised that, they don't update their listings, they don't update the photographs in there. Just as an example, I'm one of these Google guides who click photographs wherever I am. And surprisingly, that some of the places where I have added images, you've got around people watching it for 50,000 times. And that really blows me apart to see that, simple images of any property or any location can be viewed 50,000 times. So use this to your advantage. And lastly, make the most of your free time, because I think most of the people are free now. Use this time to learn a new skill. And I just put it across where the likes of Google itself having free online courses to sort of learn more about digital marketing. So as you know, marketing is sort of a moving target in here. What you do today is not going to be, it's going to be really different from tomorrow. Make sure that you're sort of learning these new skills, watching a lot of YouTube videos in there. So you use this time to learn another skill so that you're prepared for the new tomorrow. So in summary, I'll just put up what I spoke about. Firstly was building trust. Second one is your market mix is going to be different. How you're going to cater to the marketing mix. Cleanliness, we spoke about. Your friendly, flexible terms and conditions, or friendly terms and conditions. Your online reputation. Your new content, I'd sort of given you given you content tips to use. Google My Business, and of course, make the most of your free time. So without further ado, I give it to Cicero.
Hi all, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this webinar. What I'll be taking us through today is just some tips on things that you could be doing during this downtime to kind of get your business ready for when the travelers start traveling, so you don't miss out on any opportunity. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to take you guys through is obviously your direct conversion and your portal sale, which is your own website. So I've just come up with a few points that I've noticed while I'm talking to some of the properties, things that I've noticed, and I normally just tell them to, hey, just check this out and maybe make some changes on your website. So when you look at your website, I believe that you've got to make sure that your content is telling your customers a story. Okay, so maybe during this time, have a look at your website, look at your photos, look at your content, look at your facilities, make sure they are all updated. And also have a look at the photos that are there just for no reason. Just get rid of those photos, the old photos, and take new photos. If you don't have the cash to have professional photos taken, nowadays a lot of people have professional cameras at home. Take a few good photos and upload it on your website. And make sure that you're telling a story, so when the customer sees your content, they feel like they want to have the same experience that they see in the photos. Also, what I've noticed while talking to a lot of customers for the past few months is that a lot of the websites out there are not safe. So people don't realize that when you don't have your website is not safe, Google is actually pulling you down the ranking. So during this time, make sure that you have a look at your URL. If you've got the HTTPS on your website, if you don't have that, contact your website developer and have that sorted ASAP. Another thing that I find very important as well is your website speed. So I've got a link on the slide which we shared with you guys, but if you just go on Google and type and search for website speed test, there'll be a few links that are available. All you need to do is just copy your website URL and paste into the website, and that will tell you what is your website page loading speed. So it should be up to 3 seconds. If anything beyond that or longer than that, you should be contacting your website developer to have that fixed, or even getting a new website if it's the case, if the technology is not as current old technology that you've got. Also, as Edwin was talking, the terms and conditions for the property post COVID-19. I believe there will be new standards as social distancing, cleanliness. So make sure that's also updated on your website. I believe customers will be going to the property's website a lot more than ever to check whether they'll be safe. They'll bring their families. They want to make sure that they're staying somewhere where they're not catching anything, and they want to ensure that the host is a responsible host. Okay, so don't make sure that you do have that well updated on your website. Also, following what Edward said, reviews are very important. As we know, customers look at your reviews up to 7 times before they actually book accommodation. So make sure that you have those reviews uploaded on your website, and it'll be quite interesting as well to have reviews, not your direct reviews, but also reviews from the OTAs on your website that will actually help. They will actually help you on your direct conversion in building trust from your customers.
You're driving.
Can we all make sure that we are all muted, please? Cool. Also, what will be quite interesting to do while we all sort of kind of have time to go over is have a booking direct strategy. Okay, so make sure that you know who you'll be targeting moving forward and how to target those customers. Okay, so make sure that you do have your rates and offers available on your website and they're up to date, and make sure that you know who would eventually be your demand and how to target them. Also, as I mentioned before, have strategic photos so people can actually see themselves through those photos, and so they can see themselves having that. Okay. When it comes down to your booking journey, so what I would highly recommend you is pretend that you are a guest yourself and trying to make a booking at your own property. Okay, then go to your competitors and try to make a booking on their website, and compare the booking journey and see whether you as a customer, whether if you book an accommodation at your property, if you've got too many clicks, is your booking engine quite hidden on your website, and why is it hidden? So contact your channel manager, contact your website developer, and to make sure that your booking journey is smooth and seamless, so your customers feel that it's easy to confirm their reservation. One thing that I would also be looking at is your digital marketing. So if you're not on a social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and so on, get on it straight away, because you have no idea how much traffic those platforms are driving to your website. If you are on it, get more active. Now you have time to take photos around the property, post, use as much hashtags as possible. Also, if you need help with it, get help. Okay, get someone to help you out with your digital marketing. If you got kids, your kids will be awesome at it. Or get even Katie, and Katie will be more than happy to kind of have a chat with you guys and help you out. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but your 70% of your online bookings these days will be coming through mobile devices. Okay, so make sure that you target your customers on devices. So if you are a STAAH customer, you are able to actually load a promotion and target customers booking through mobile devices. So get in touch with your channel manager and or your booking provider, and make sure that you get that in place. We even notice, for example, that our customers, when they do load promotions targeting customers booking through mobile devices, we've noticed that the conversion gets a certain amount increase. So it really helps. You should also be able to replicate your deals, your OTA deals, to your website. Okay, so you should not be losing traffic to the. Obviously, you've got to be friends with the OTAs. You've got to make sure that you're on them, because they'll be driving traffic to your website. But also, what you want to do, you want to minimize the bounce back to the OTA. You do want to convert the customer directly as much as possible. So how do you do that? Replicating those promotions to your website. One thing that is quite important as well is normally we don't have the time to go over all the OTAs extranet and have a look what's out there, what deals, what rate plans have you got, what are you using, what you're not using anymore, what's outdated. So now is the time to do it. So take that day and say, today is my OTAs day and I'm going to do my full audit on all channels. Have a look at your content, your photos, have a look at your reviews, and identify what needs to be what you need to improve on your reviews, and address that with your staff. Have a look at your pricing, make sure that you're competitive. Look at your competitors as well, see what they're charging. Have a look at the rate plans that you've got. Are you missing on anything? Stay tuned, stay safe, advanced purchase, refundable, non-refundable, and whatever you're not using anymore and you know for sure that you're not going to use any longer, delete it. We know how easy it is to add on a rate plan, and you know how easy things can be activated back end of the OTA. So have a look at your rate plans. Also have a look at your future availability. So if you've had groups get cancelled with you, future groups, and have a look at your PMS and channel manager. Make sure that the availability has actually been released back. So you don't want to see yourself in the future think that you are busy, but in fact you're not. You just had the rules blocked for no need. So make sure that everything is released and for sale. Also do, as I said before, an audit on your social media. If you're on it, get on it, and one thing that I would also consider is have a look at your local channel. Okay, we know that for a few months. We know that for a few months we will have to be relying on domestic tourism. So make sure that you are on the local channels if any. So think differently how you can target those domestic travelers. Okay, be creative, watch your competitors, what they're doing, and take some tips from them as well. Have a discussion with hotels around you. Consider being on eyesight, visitor centers, and local OTAs, and make sure you've got enough deal out there. Next slide, Edwin. Also, what I would definitely do is have enough packages available on your website, so your customers, so you have enough options for your customers, and also get in touch with tourism activities on around you. Okay, come up with packages. So get in touch with shuttle companies, tourism attractions, special tours, grab one. And also have a look at your commission. So if you've got enough tourism attractions around you and you currently have no deals, put a deal, come up with a deal with them and pay them a commission. So every booking that bring out to you, you give them a cut. Obviously everyone's needing some extra cash at the moment. So I think in working together on this situation, we all want to take the benefits of being working together. So have enough deals with the whole sort of companies. Every booking counts, every dollar will make a difference moving forward, and be creative. This is just a slide to show you how the channels that are produced the most in 2019 for New Zealand, Australia. So as this slide will be released to you guys, so make sure that you are listed on all of those channels so you can capture enough bookings moving forward. So as Edwin said, just for just a quick summary of what I have covered. So have a look at your brand.com website, okay, your content, your photos, your facilities, your booking strategy. Come up with one, understand who you're targeting and how you're going to target those customers. Make sure your website's safe. your website speed as well. Get in touch with your website developers if it's needed. Make sure you've got enough deals on your website. Do an audit. Have enough packages available on your website and with your tourism around you, and obviously your social media. And now, thanks so much for your time, and I'll pass it on to Katie.
Hi guys, thank you so much for staying on with us. I'm just going to cover a few things around social media. Next slide. That's me. So what we're going to cover is we've talked a lot about with the last two presentations around, top level strategies. So I didn't want to make sure I was saying the same thing. So we're going to go through some practical takeaways. I believe this is going to be shared after, or if you want to reach out to me for this checklist, just get in contact. But we're going to do a Facebook audit specifically, and then we're going to run through some content ideas that you can implement right now. So we just heard before, if you've got the time, get on social media, but you might be thinking, what am I going to post right now that could resonate with my audience? So we'll cover all of that. And I just want to quickly say, every 1% matters. I am a huge ambassador of the little things add up to big things over time. So sometimes we might have to change that or update that profile or change that name to this. And it seems like really micro actions, and you're thinking to yourself, does this really make a difference? And I'm here to tell you it does. We have to have every single channel firing and looking perfect. So every 1% matters. So first off, we'll get into the Facebook audit. First thing I want you to do is jump into the back end, go to settings and templates, and make sure your page, whatever you are, is on the right setting. For most of you, you'll probably want to be set to business. This just makes sure, and I'll show you a bit later on when we have our call to action at the top, that we have the right structure in place. So this is a simple one, but go and check your template. The next one is description. This is an obvious one, but you would be so surprised how much of this is blank. So in the back end of Facebook, let's say you set your page up 5 years ago, right? So many things have changed in the back end. So you need to jump in there. If there's a field, there should be information for it. They don't ask for information for no reason. Facebook is a beast, we all know that. So we need to make sure we have everything possible filled in, including our hotel name and our USP. Categories. You can have up to 3 categories here. So if you have a lot of, let's say, weddings, you could put wedding venue as one of your categories. So make sure you use all 3 categories. Contact information is a given. Make sure all of this is filled in, and your hours. So make sure that your hours, you can see here over on the right-hand side, I've got an example. They've actually got a selection for temporary closed. If you're closed right now because of COVID, make sure you've got that one selected. The next one is just looking on the front end. So at the top of Facebook, you've got the ability to set a profile cover, kind of like the homepage of your landing page, your homepage of your website. You probably want a really nice, beautiful image at the top. I highly recommend you can add text to your banner, but make sure that it looks good on mobile and desktop. And this is where you can add in, some USPs relevant to your property. You can use the slider option. So that's where you can have multiple photos. So it's not just the one that people can scroll to. And also, of course, we're going to love video up here. If you have a video, try to put your cover as a video. If you've got some downtime, go and check out on Facebook, Novotel Surfers Paradise. I stumbled across their profile the other day, and they have a really nice video at the top of their profile. So if you're looking for some inspo, go check that out. Now, back when I said make sure you've got your template set right, this is because this will affect your call to action button. So you can see here, I've got the example Crown Plaza Melbourne, and we've got the action as book now. You'll get a little drop down menu where you can choose your book now. Go and check it. Is it active? Do you have the right URL? Maybe if it's not book now, right now, because you're closed, is it learn more about the business or contact with you? Just make sure you've got that there. You can track that on a month-to-month basis. You would actually be surprised in my monthly reporting how many people click this button. So make sure that you've got it up to date. Now we're going to do a little bit in terms of automation. So a few features that people probably don't know are there or they're not using. A greeting message. Now this comes back to the 1%ers. Why would I set this? Because every tiny little touch of personalization matters. So in the back end under settings and messages, you have the ability to turn this on. And it's a simple thing. So if anyone lands on your page, a little pop-up, if you're on desktop, will come up the side. And you can see the example, if you can read that, it just says, "Hi Katie, thanks for getting in touch with Crown Plaza Perth. Send us any questions you may have." So just a nice little thing that you don't have to activate. All you do is turn it on and customize your little message. Then the next one is auto responses. So to get to this one is actually in your, so you go to your Facebook page, you go to inbox, and then you go to auto responses. There's a few, I want you to hang out in here for a while actually, because this is changing and they often have new things in there. So the first one that I want you to click on is instant reply. This means as soon as someone messages your page, you can have an instant reply. I've got an example over here on the right-hand side, which is from a Loft Perth. So they're down on staff at the moment. They get high volume messages. And so they're just saying, "Hey guys, due to the circumstances, there may be a delay." They've given some information. So if I've messaged the hotel and I'm expecting a reply, instantly I get that message. It's about, the reason you want to turn these on is because we need to acknowledge that we've heard the people. Even though it's a little bot, I get that, but it's an instant reply that you can say, "Hey, we hear you, your message is there, we'll follow up soon." The other ones I want you to look at is frequently asked questions. So this is a great spot where you can put the same questions that you keep getting asked because people just don't read. So people always ask the same questions, right? How much is parking? Can I cancel my reservation? Where's this? So in frequently asked questions, I think you have the ability to set 3 questions. So make sure you set them there. And so you can ask what the question is and then put a little automatic response in. It just saves you time. So if I log on and I'm going to go ask you what are the parking options at your property, and then this little auto thing pops up, I'll go, "Oh, what's the parking options?" And it'll be, "Hi Katie, the parking options are XYZ. So just trying to help you get a little bit of automation. And then the third one is page recommended. I absolutely love this one. So if you've got a Facebook profile and you do get recommendations, so that's equivalent to getting an online review, you can automatically message someone to tell them thank you so much. So I highly recommend even adding a personalized touch of having a photo of your staff and a little message that just says, "Thank you so much. We appreciate the recommendation. We're so glad you had a great experience with us." I've just got a little cross down the bottom. I do not recommend having the auto response on the page not recommended. If someone's leaving you a bad review and they're not happy, the last thing that they want is a little auto bot saying, "Thank you so much. We'll be in contact soon." So definitely don't do that. You should be responding to every single negative review personally. If you got some time now and you're going to start sharing some awesome content, just a little hack: if you share a destination post, they normally work really well, really pretty images of your destination. When you have a lot of people who like the post, you can actually click onto it and then you can scroll through the list and invite people to like your page. It's just a nice little way that you can help build your profile. So yeah, the trick around that is to post really pretty destination. More people like it and share it, then you go through and invite them to your page, which is a perfect segue to content. Okay, so we've done a little audit, we've cleaned up. I could have page upon page upon page of an audit, but I just wanted to give you some practical ones for today around Facebook. Now we're going to think about what content can we post. So you've been told you need to do social media, and if you're keen to get on board now, so I'm not talking about future, I'm talking right now, this week, next week, because it's changing so quickly, so we have to be on to what's happening right now and making sure we're being relevant. But last week, Google published data on recent search trends revealing the top 5 ways people are searching online. So they came up with these 5. So assembling critical information. This is what we've already spoken about. Concise, clear communication, cancellation, being really flexible, having all the information up to date on your channels. Discovering new connections. The world of Zoom has boomed in the way that we're connecting with each other now through webinars. Adjusting to changes in their routines. So everyone is doing everything at home now. We're working, we're living, we're playing, we're family, we're cooking, we're doing everything at home now, which we're not used to. So it's a big adjustment for people, and also how to kill time at home. What can they be doing? Praising everyday heroes is an obvious one, and we've seen a lot of that. And then taking care of themselves and others. So you might be looking at that and you think that's great, but you just need to learn to see this information out there, and then how do we apply it to our industry? And that's what I love doing, right? Because how do we take this information and make it relevant to us? And so on the next page, I've just got a few examples. So adjusting to changes in their routine. This one on the left is from a hotel that set this up in Noosa. So they started a hashtag view from my window. I mean, beautiful spot, right? Noosa, so many beautiful photos. But there's nothing salesy about this, guys. They're not trying to sell anything at all. They just started a hashtag view from my window, and it's all about sharing beautiful photos around Noosa. Praising everyday heroes, we're seeing a lot more of it now, but the first one that I saw come out was Pampac. So obviously they, were to market first in terms of homing the homeless with the fight against COVID. The second one down the bottom, sorry, you might be able to see that very clearly, but basically it's a handwritten letter that was written to the team at Travelodge, just about how their frontline team handled the whole situation, and they were really happy with everything. So then they posted that on LinkedIn. It went really, really well. So it was like a bit of PR for them out of it, and praising their frontline staff. Discovering new connections. So how can we give people things that they want to be at? So the zoo, I love how they've taken everything online now. You can log in and watch the penguins. We've also seen hotels that are taking their hotel rooms and making them into offices. So new ways of working. I have to work from home now. I've got 3 kids at home. I need to get away. Can you facilitate a day office for the day? And adjusting to changes in the routine. So I normally go to a Pilates class or a yoga class. I can't do that now. I saw last week Crystal Brook Collection had put this out, which was some of their wellness programs taken all online now, and you can join in totally free. So yeah, just a few examples there. I hope that inspires you to think of some ideas for your own property. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. On behalf of STAAH Katie for this webinar, I hope you can take some few tips from here, implement that at your property, and let's be ready for the new tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them on chat, and we are around for a few minutes to answer that. But hope you enjoyed the session. This session is being recorded, and we can mail that to you through your YouTube link. So, and also the slide as well. So thank you for your participation. I hope you have a good day, and let's get out of this mess soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie, there's some few. Are you going through the chat?
It's a matter, someone just asked how often should we post on Facebook at the moment. It really comes down to, there's no magical answer. It's about quality over quantity. So, you know, if you aim for just 2 or 3 times a week, that's a great place to start. You don't have to be posting daily. Just try to post quality content over the quantity.
Somebody asked, do we get the slides and enforce? Yes, you do get the slides as well as the video recording sent to you.
Do we paste the same post on Facebook and Instagram or different content? Because I'm a social media marketer, obviously I'm going to say they deserve 2 different strategies. They're 2 different platforms with 2 different types of people on them. But for ease, especially if you're just getting started, you can post the same content. I just encourage you to mix it up a little bit. So maybe just use a different photo. And then make sure on Instagram you're using hashtags and don't use hashtags on Facebook. So to get started, definitely you can use the same content, but just try to make it a little bit different, whether it's just using a different photo. So Instagram's definitely a lot more inspirational. You want really, really beautiful photos. So maybe you can regram or share destination photos, but with, you know, Facebook, it's a bit more relaxed in terms of the visual aspects. So hopefully that answers your question.
Katie, there's lots of questions for
do
you.
Do I think images would work more than descriptions? In relation to what do I think images would work more than descriptions? Oh, in websites and food. Yes, of course. Images. We're well past the days of just using descriptions. An image has 1,000 words compared to what you do. So I highly, highly encourage you to use images for every single digital channel. At the moment, everything we do now is to inspire and dream with our guests. We're not selling to our guests at the moment, guys. We're just being there, we're being supportive, and we're inspiring them. So to do that, visual content is all the way to go. And if you don't have that content, get onto Instagram and look at the hashtag of your area, look at the destination sites, Australia, Tourism Australia, or your state, wherever your state is. There's so many destination sites that have beautiful images, and look to repurpose. So don't worry if you don't have your own library, get creative in finding other people's, and highly recommend do not use stock imagery.
There's no pandemic. Idiot.
We've still got about 30 people on here. Was there any other questions? Otherwise, we might wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much.
We'll just wait for a few minutes, Katie. So just in case quite a number of participants still there.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you been getting the messages privately, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Some good feedback, so thank you for that.